Hello everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul and Marissa from Growing the Flow, and we have a little surprise for you because we have decided that as of now we're going to be like, this will be the last episode when you see both of our stars and cards parts 1 and 2 on both channels. But as of next time, because we have Winter Solstice and it's all about new beginnings, we're going to be sharing them. So you'll have to subscribe to both of our channels and go to watch one part in one channel and the other one on the other channel, so we keep it exciting for you. So welcome to episode 12 part 2. This time still hosted by me, but as of next time, stay tuned and then you'll have to guess who's going to be hosting which one. So Marissa, here we are.
Hello. Yes, we're keeping it fresh over here. But yes, in the name of new beginnings and stepping into the new cycle, just on the other side here of solstice, we're gonna move into the vibration of working smarter, not harder, and duplicating efforts and all the things. So I'm looking forward to that in the new year. But we always have a playlist where we save all of our episodes that you can access at any time. So always feel free to reach out if don't want to miss an episode.
Exactly. And
Thank you for being here.
We want to let this Leo shine, so we need to allow Marissa to host too.
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. You're a tough act to follow there for me to come in, but no, we have so much fun. I mean, we could do this whether you were recording or not. So
Well, exactly. So yeah, guys, this is your episode 12 part 2, and this time we're going to be talking about winter solstice or summer solstice, wherever you are in the world. And I believe that's actually the day we're going to be releasing it, because I believe it's on Thursday, but I could be wrong because I'm completely out of touch with time. And yeah, by this point we are approaching Christmas season, so I'm sure everybody is looking forward to it. Well, some people are not, but I guess by this point, probably, hopefully, most of the stress of shopping and wrapping is behind you.
yeah. The 21st is a Thursday. You are correct.
Cool.
And it is also the beginning of Capricorn season. So happy birthday to all the Capricorns, and welcoming in that energy for sure. So,
well, my brother is born on 21st and he's 29 degrees of Sagittarius.
So now how does that work? Because I understand there's difference of opinions about cusp, not cusp. What does that, how does that work?
Well, it's very easy. It's completely different when you have 29 and 1 degree, because 29 degree, as you know, people might be aware, each zodiacal sign has 30 degrees. So if the sign gets to the end of the degree, that is a totality of understanding. So somebody with 1 degree of Sagittarius is going to be very different than somebody with 29 degrees of Sagittarius, because the lesson of Sagittarius has been learned. With the 1 degree of Sagittarius, you just you're beginning the journey. You're like, oh yeah, wow, Sagittarius, all exciting. And then when you get to the end of it, like, it's like the wise man, right? Like the teacher that is now wise and has the totality of experience, rather than somebody who is just, I don't know, first day at the college, like something like that. And then 1 degree, first degree of Capricorn, it's again this new energy of the Capricorn. You're learning to become your own authority. You're learning about emotional maturation, where somebody with 29 degrees of Capricorn, usually when you meet people with Capricorn energy, they have that, you feel like, oh, this person is, like they have this, like something that requires respect. There is this natural respect that we feel towards people with a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, this Capricorn. So people born on the day when the sign was shifting from 29 degrees to 1 degrees, they are very different energy. So it's not like, oh yeah, I'm kind of Sagittarius, kind of Capricorn. No, you either very wise Sagittarius or very young Capricorn.
But not both. Got it. Okay. So yeah, we have all that happening then on the 21st as we look ahead to this energy. So we're going to bring in some seasonal decks, actually, because of the season, having fun with that. And of course, we're in the Northern Hemisphere, so you'll see that this is called the Winter Weight. It's an awesome deck. It's very wintry, but definitely brings in a lot of the aspects of the season. But of course, for those Southern Hemispheres, we're not forgetting you and bringing in the energy of the sun as well. So we're going to pull a card from the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. Do we want to do that one first? Would you say?
The end, no? Because
we can do that. Yeah, so we'll kick it off with our 3, or what do you think?
Well,
3
let's
cards?
see. Let's play it by the ear, but I think we closed very nicely with the part one and the energies of ending 2023 and entering 2024. So I'm curious to see, because of course the Capricorn season is a cardinal sign, so it's a new direction, it's a new beginning, and Capricorn is about emotional maturation. So now that with the last lunation, with the new moon in Sagittarius, we had the potential an opportunity to seed intentions for the story we wish to experience going forward. And now let's see what this Capricorn is going to do with it.
All right, let's see. And I'll do our 3 cards, what to know, to do, and be here around solstice and Capricorn season. What to know. The 9 of Cups, which is one of the main cards that came up on our last episode, is one of the ones and now it was just the Strength card.
Yeah,
so we're getting all these winks to all the energies that have been coming in and are coming forward, with next year being the Strength card, being the archetypal energy for that 8th year. So let's see, 1 card for what to know here. We have,
oh, of course,
8 of Swords, right? So we see that 8 of Swords, but that's funny because you and I saw this card in the month ahead reading, and I saw it a little differently there. So we'll see how we feel about it today.
Oh yeah, isn't that the one that I got?
Yeah, I said somebody had a surprise, like when they blindfold you and say, okay, don't peek yet. And you're like, okay, can I look? Can I look? Like there's this anticipation of what we're not yet able to see.
And that's typically me, because I am so impatient. I want everything to know yesterday. So can I see? And like, no,
Yeah.
sorry.
Not yet. No peeking. All right. What to do? Action around solstice. And in these okay. This is it, Sheila. I described this in episode 12 when we talked about the baby. Isn't that adorable sun? Happy New Year. So you see the sun energy, which also came up in episode 12.1. And we talked about the new that's coming in. So this is our action to do, is the sun again. So how amazing is that? It came up in the same position, although we were looking at it as past, present, and future. Wow, that's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah.
I love that the baby's wearing a top hat. A diaper and a top hat. You can't go wrong. Like they're dressed.
Is he on a donkey or on a pony? It's not quite horse, is it?
It does look like a donkey, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does look more donkey-like. Take from that what you will.
Well, I can tell you that guy is like a Wim Hof, because he seems to be quite chilled with the fact that it's snow all around him and he's naked.
And he's in a diaper.
Right.
All right, let's see. To be. All right, so just being in the energy.
Oh, very nice.
All the presents, all the things, all the to-do, all of it coming together. It's a lot of work. Okay. There we go. Let me move these into the middle. So, solstice, and we're feeling into this energy of the longest night, or the sun being the most active and going without instead of coming within, right? If we're looking at the different aspects of solstice. And so what to know, do, and be there. So the 8 of Swords is a card that always suggests that there is more than meets the eye, and that we may perceive that we are stuck, or that our options are few, or that we can't really see where to from here. But yet there is a sense of an opportunity for empowerment where, those bindings are not very tight, that I could wriggle free and then reach up and pull the blindfold off. That's a traditional association with the 8 of Swords. But like I was saying, and it must be said, it's an 8 as well, because, where to from here? Well, we're heading into the 8th year of 2024 and we don't know yet, right? That's what I'm saying. This was feeling like, and we have these like ridiculous commercials here in the US where at Christmas time, where somebody is gifting someone a car. Okay. And it's like, who and if you've ever given a car as a gift, no, that's wonderful. But I'm saying, like, it's not the practical gift that you walk out and there's this beautiful car with a giant red bow on it waiting for you right out front, But that's why this card was reminding me of gift giving time, where there's a sense of like, okay, don't look yet. Like, I'm kind of standing there waiting for the reveal. I'm waiting for the reveal. So to know in this time is that we haven't seen everything yet. So even if it feels very restrictive, very binding, the swords, of course, representing our thoughts, our beliefs, things that are going on in the head, we're still on this vibe as we were very much in episode 12.1 about more than meets the eye. We talked about, do you see what I see? Well, here I'm saying that, like, it's not so much what we see physically, it's more internal. It's more, again, going within to perceive our surroundings, to perceive the options that are available to us. And there's definitely like a clearing here between we see that there's snow on either side, but there's like a melting happening here. And there is options to move forward, but we might have to do so without knowing everything, without seeing everything before we take those steps.
Yeah, and for me, it's really interesting that actually this week, the week of the winter solstice, Mercury is now retrograde, and we had the second trine between Mercury retrograde and Jupiter retrograde, which is what I mentioned last time. There'll be 3 trines between Mercury and Jupiter. The way you identify your reality and the perception of reality that you have, the story, and also the second sextile between Mercury and Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn. And as I just told you, on this day, December 21st, there is a Venus-Uranus opposition. And when we had Mars and Uranus opposition, it was 11-11. So we have all these important things happening with these important numbers taking place. And with this 8 of Swords, I think represents the energy of Gemini, which is about the choice. We don't necessarily know where this is going to go. We don't have the clarity, but we have the choice to choose. Do I want to feel disempowered? And do I want to feel like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm going. It's all doom and gloom. There is Uranus acting out. So obviously there could be something happening on a collective stage, literally stage, trying to distract you, trying to take your attention away and make you feel fearful, make you feel, oh my God, it's all done. I have no choice. There's nowhere to go from here. It's all, that's it, right? But just a matter of fact, we have sun there, it's saying otherwise. And with this energy of, well, okay, let's just imagine this person is deaf and blind. Therefore, you remove this external environment. I know this is something that I read or heard something somewhere, that imagine that you put the world on mute, if you put the world, or if you put the person, this is actually something that I think they were advising with regards to relationships, that if you go on a date and you put that guy on mute, and you literally have to read his body language and trust your intuition. So this is what, I don't know why Spirit, but obviously is resonant with this card. It's saying that imagine if you couldn't hear all this noise, again, like what we saw last time in part 1, if you couldn't hear all this voice and you couldn't see all this news because she's blinded, we don't know if she's deaf as well, but she's definitely blind, what would you feel? What would you feel, and what choice based on what you feel, but you can't see it, you might not even be able to hear it, what choice would you make if you put the world on mute? So this is what comes to me with regards to this.
Wow. Yeah, as you say that, it reminds me of, like, whenever it's a good snowfall, there's this hush or like this quiet that in the atmosphere. And it just reminds me again of like the dulling of those other senses, where again you have to really be able to amplify what's within to understand it. And it's interesting because what you were saying is like, it may seem and feel and look bleak and disempowering. That's what I was saying. Like, it feels like an opportunity to empower yourself to say, well, no, I'm going to actually, this moves into what to do. I'm going to break free of this binding. I'm going to remove this blindfold. Like, I'm going to take an action that's going to reveal another step. And then I'm going to see that there is actually a clearing in front of me, that I'm not, frozen here, stuck, unable to move. So this is to know. So it's like to know that no matter what is happening in the environment, how you're perceiving it, or what's occurring, that there is an opportunity for you to make a move. And then that moves into what do we need to know about taking action? It's beautiful. It's one of, if not the most positive cards of the tarot. It's the sun. So it's welcoming in the summer in the Southern Hemisphere. Amazing. I've been saying that like lucky ducks, because I'm a summer Leo, like I love the summer, but I love the fact that it says Happy New Year. It's just welcoming in the new. But again, all this red feels like safe and protected and stable. And it really is, again, also that you can do this. You do have what it takes, whether that is physical, material, tangible things, or just the safety to express yourself in the way that you feel. Again, this is bringing us into that sense of I am, of do shine your light, do take that step, do reveal, what's behind the curtain, or what it is that has previously been withheld or unseen. So there's this energy of, in the quiet, in the darkness, in the stillness of that day, being able to access again, then what inspired action do I want to take, in the new season that lies ahead, welcoming that season, welcoming in the new, which again, too, so this is 19. So we were talking about the 10 energy. So we definitely have this again, the wheel's always turning, the seasons are changing, we're moving into new, we're moving into Capricorn season, we're moving into 2024, we're moving into the new season that's ahead, summer or winter. So there's all of this, culminating and then kicking off. But do it boldly and do it, courageously, because we have the strength and the security to do it.
Well, I would say follow your passion, like the little guy is doing. Follow your passion. And the way I was being taught tarot, that 2 10s means change. And last time we started with the growth card, which was number 5, which is the change. So this is, continuation of that story, of that reading, which is saying, it literally, to me, is so clear. These cards, like literally the universe is like, it's saying, you have a choice. You have a choice. The sun is shining. Are you going to follow your passion? And even with the 10 of Wands, there are 2 ways to interpret it. You want to carry on carrying all that 10 wands, like all that burden, or is this the end of it? So with the number 8, it's literally saying we enter in the year number 8, with this beginning of Capricorn season. Capricorn is the definition of reality. Is the matrix, which we all co-creating together as a collective, but our individual experience is your own creation. So with this 8 of Swords is saying it's up to you how you're going to create this year number 8, because the sun, the Leo, is a creativity, it's your creative self-expression, it is the solar plexus, it's all this passion, it's this authenticity, all of that. And then it's going into the 10 of Wands, which is this the end of the burden, or do we creating more of that? Based on the first card, what do you choose? Do you choose to try to see and listen in the way that is just showing you the same old story, or do you choose to see and listen through different senses, not just your ears and your eyes, but there is something more that you can trust to guide you?
Yeah, I definitely see the bookending here of like, these are potential, like, to me, it's sort of transplanting, like burying yourself or overloading, so that, I do feel like we need another card, by the way, but I'm feeling like I want to see what else is coming in here, because this is so bright and has so much potential. And it is something that requires an action on your part, because this is the action, this is the being. And, this idea of being overwhelmed and overloaded and overstimulated and over everything is over. Like, you're just going to keep manifesting the same thing. Like, the 8 energy is about manifestation. And so it's so important for us to know, whatever we choose to carry into, and you can be carrying it into 2024 because you've gathered a lot of inspiration, you've gathered a lot of wands, but this has this sort of overwhelmed energy to it that it's heavy to bear when you're trying to carry it all at once. So I think that there's a lot of potential, and it does require action from you, but baby steps, taking baby steps, you know, not trying to like lug it all in there. And sometimes, I mean, this is kind of like typical New Year behavior where people feel the pressure of the resolution, right? I don't subscribe to resolutions. I typically say it's an intention I'm setting, or seeds I'm planting, or you can call it a goal or something, or just a reset, or whatever you want to call it. But a lot of times there's this pressure that like, I have all these resolutions, I have all these things, and we're going to head on in here, we're going to do it all, and it's too much, and then you end up crashing and burning. And then starting a cycle over that started here. So that's where I feel like we're kind of seeing potential, you know, things to be aware of, because it doesn't mean that you don't have a lot to take with you into the new year. This is not so much tangible as it is energetic. You know, the wands are bringing in, you know, fire, but also like this, you know, the ideas, the inspirations, the creativity, like your work, you know, and yeah, that could be that you have a lot of work. I know that's true for me. Like, it's true. Like, that might be what's on my plate, but like, what do I need to know about how best to manage those wands? How best to, you know, take all of these ideas, thoughts, the swords, the, you know, all that, and all these wands, and move them forward in an inspired way, you know, taking action in a way that is bold and courageous, but productive too. So
yeah, and I mean, this 10 of wands, like from my understanding, is like a mutable fire energy, which would be Sagittarius, which is what we just discussed in the last video. And that's again, it's saying the same thing, that you are the one that chooses the story, the perception of reality that you want to use and apply to have this experience. So like with the 10 of wands, it could be the end of your struggles. You know, you can end something that you've been carrying for a long time, and now start a new cycle, like with the one, you know, the sun, when the other digit comes to number one, and the number one is the magician, which is Gemini, which is again a choice. You have all these tools, you have all these things available to you. The sun is shining, you know, like showing you, you know, with the magician, even though we don't have magician there, but the one is also the number of a magician. And it's saying you have all this, everything available there, all the suits, everything. But how do you use it is up to you. So it can be used for overwhelmed. I have too much to do, I can't do it all, and all that. Or yeah, like you said, the step-by-step process, because like with the son, with the child, the inner child, we didn't expect the child to be popped out of the womb and now have a college degree, right? They didn't even walk, you know. It was all a step-by-step process. It was this trial and error. And I know that in our past readings, Hermit was coming up a lot, which was the Virgo, the step-by-step process, the trial and error, the hero's journey. So I really feel that with these cards, it's about choice, which you had the opportunity, which you can always set. There is always a new opportunity to set intentions. But I don't buy into the fact that, oh yeah, first of the first, you need to set your intention or whatever. You can set your intention whenever you want. You can, every moment of every day, you can start afresh, because you're not the same person you were 5 minutes ago or yesterday or last year. So you can start whenever you want. But, you know, like, why would you put 10 wands to carry if you can just carry one and have a new beginning?
you know what I'm thinking? I think it's a little story about our change that we're making. Because it's like we started out, we couldn't see that, like we thought that it was like, oh, okay, so you're gonna post, you're gonna collaborate, you're gonna post a video. So you post it, I post it, your story, my story, this place, that place. And it was like all this stuff, but it was like, that feels like a lot. And it's not, you know, so now we're tuning into like, well, what feels good? Like, you know, and it's like, you know, the end of all those things you have to do to really streamlining it into something that feels inspiring, that brings you joy. And it's okay to reset at any time. Like, to me, these wands are like pickup sticks, you know, like things that it's like, you might still have 10 wands, but like you can rearrange them in a way, or set some down and do something with others, or do something that actually makes it much more able to be carried with more ease. You know, you don't have to carry it the same old way. So I feel like it could very well be an opportunity for this to be the end of overloading, overwhelming, over. I just feel like all this like over excess, that it doesn't mean that it's completely written out, but it's something that you rearrange. There's a rearrangement happening, and that might get rearranged again later down the line too, is what we're saying. Like you can reassess it anytime, and should do, like that would be advisable to do, because at all times something that worked before it comes, it's run its course, it's served its time, and now you start out on a new beginning.
Yeah,
So
it's a mutable energy, and that is always inviting us to, to be flexible with the choices we are making, especially as we are taking a step into the unknown. So there is the learning and adjustment that needs to take place, because we're not like, it's, with this number one energy, the Aries energy is like, we have this inspiration to go in a new direction, but we don't have it figured out. We don't know how. Like, just like you said, when we started, we didn't know what we were doing. We know a little bit more now, but it's like, okay, well, this works, this doesn't, let's make adjustments and take it from there and see where it goes.
And that is the magician. That's the message of the magician. I have all these tools, I have all these ideas, I have this information, whatever it is, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use each of these components to make my magic, and I'm going to find out what works and what doesn't, and have a willingness to go back to the table, back to the cauldron, and reassess and create something new from that, knowing what it is I know now through the experience that I didn't have before. I couldn't see it before. I should not have. It wasn't time yet. I was still in that process of learning, growing, and expanding into what is being birthed in me now, and so once I do that, maybe I start to notice what's heavy. Maybe I start to notice what's in my way, so that's where I'm feeling some, whether it is in the darkness or in the light, things that can get illuminated through either feeling the heaviness, facing that shadow, or seeing what is now possible through the return of the light, however that solstice is coming forward for you.
Sure, and this is built up then by this point towards the full moon in Cancer, which is what we will be talking about next time, and it's a full moon. So now the sun,
Cancer.
exactly.
So we can feel.
Yeah, and it's about the ego identity as well. That what did we connect it, identified ourselves as, that we stubbornly attached to now, like, no, I can't let it go. And with this sun illuminating that, oh yeah, but you didn't see before, but isn't it too much to carry? Do you not want to be somebody lighter? Lighten your load. Yeah.
Lighten your load, right? Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. So I'm going to pull one more card for, the highest and best guidance moving forward through solstice and into the new. On the other side of these 10 wands, the best guidance, the highest and best advice here for navigating. Oh, that one's winking at me. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Not carrying all those wands, packing lightly, no junk in the trunk, right? We're just taking a few things.
And I was literally thinking that, it would be good to have another major arcana, and here it is.
And it's like, I mean, Happy New Year, new baby, new beginning, the Fool. Card 0, starting out fresh. And also very optimistic and open, and just, willing to receive the adventure as it appears. But definitely very looking, again, the posturing of looking up and out, and being open to the point that we're not even worried about that ledge there, like there's just an understanding that we're, again, I see the red boots, the red jumps out to me because we're safe. I mean, obviously use your judgment. It doesn't mean go walking off of a, if Stars and Cards tells you to walk off of a cliff, would you do it? No, we're not saying that. We're saying
take your parachute.
Yeah, take a parachute, right? Prepare. But the point is that Fool is not lugging all 10 of those wands. No. There's definitely some stuff we're leaving behind. And that's probably for next time with that full moon. What are we shedding? What are we releasing? And what type of clutter is it? Because it certainly could be emotional, energetic. It's not necessarily physical stuff, but it could be too. There's all these different aspects of, sort of culminating into the new. This feels so much better because it was like these two are just like, right there with these walls, but then these two just feel bright and open and new, and just, heading into adventure again. Like it does feel, open, And so the rest is still unwritten. You know, again, we talk about these stories and we're culminating and ending and you know, letting things rest, putting them to rest, and then setting out on the new.
So yeah, I definitely feel that with this full closing our 2023, and also like this, like we mentioned, this is happening on a solstice, and solstice is the cardinal energy. The sun is moving into the sign of Capricorn, but also we have all this mutable energy of the Sagittarius. And one thing that I actually wanted to once again remind everyone that at this point Mercury is already retrograde and Jupiter is still retrograde, and that is really helping us to reevaluate things. You know, so with this full showing up, it's saying that, okay, based on all these reevaluations that we are making, like Jupiter will station direct actually on the day of the full moon of Capricorn Cancer, we now will be looking at things a little bit differently. So with this first card saying that, oh, well, I might feel stuck, there might be no option, no other choices, and then the sun saying like, oh, well, maybe just connect with your inspiration. What actually makes you feel happy now during the holidays? Hopefully people will be doing some of that, you know, like feeling inspired, doing some things. If they have children, spending more time with their kids, maybe being silly, doing silly things. And then we have this 10 of Wands, which is saying that, okay, well, there's an opportunity to potentially put some things, you know, on a back burner, or take them away, rearrange them. Like you said, the Wands will still be there, but do they have to be all there carried at the same time? And the Fool is then saying that, well, now, you know, with this Mercury going retrograde, Jupiter soon to station direct, and then on January 1st, Mercury stations direct, maybe we'll see things very differently. And it will give us this new optimism into like, oh, okay, now I have a realization I didn't have before. Also, Chiron will be stationing direct around the time of the full moon. And the world might look very differently, and it might give you this new zest for life, hopefully.
Yeah, and I see that too when you said that, because these two, like, we started out, maybe I couldn't see or it was limited, but this is like all I have is choices. All I have is what I see in front of, like, there's just, it's all open. So it goes from being very closed off to being totally free and open. So this is maybe a perception, and this could be the potential of a reality, you know, these two things, and the choice is yours, right? So it's sort of like having these two is like where we're coming from, and on the other side of solstice, being wide open and seeing the potential, seeing the light. But I love that too, about the inner child and being playful and seeing maybe through a child's eyes, you know, this energy, versus how we can tend to get caught up in all the work and the responsibility and the weight of everything. Both again have the red. I just keep seeing, because it's just such a bold, like, one is like on the back and the other one is like, wee, you know, like there's just these two different paths, these two different potentials, and the choice is yours. Like, it brings forward choice, and maybe a choice point too, where you can bring this energy with you, which in so doing can really help to lighten, you know, some of the burden and the weight of those 10 wands.
And what just came to me was that I believe Fool is Uranus, is the like energy of this, you know, like Uranus, like this change, this new beginning, this, you know, like this freedom, you know, sovereignty, like opportunity for going, and, you know, like it also sounds a little bit Jupiterian to me. And with the 8 of Wands, if we look at it from the perspective of like, okay, well, you have a choice how you want to perceive this, like this Mercury. And then in the last reading, we had the number 5, which is the change, the growth, which is Mercury and Uranus. Then it really, I feel that this opposition that we had, the first one, you know, the Mars as the ruler of the North Node to Uranus on 11/11/11/11, which was the 11, you know, which was very like important day. Then of course we had the last new moon in Sagittarius on 12/12, and now it's 21/12, which is just 12 reversed, right? And yeah, and then we have this Fool card coming up. So I'm wondering what is happening on a collective that is potentially shaking people up. You know, Uranus might be something unexpected. It doesn't even have to be in collective. It could be just in your personal reality, maybe the interaction you have with your loved ones or whatever, and something might just click, because with this retrograde energy, we are introspecting, reevaluating, maybe seeing things a little bit differently. Like I heard you saying that when Mercury is retrograde, it's not so much about logical. It's more about your internal dialogue, about your intuition. So I'm wondering what might be showing up for us individually or collectively throughout the holiday season that might make this shift of perspective, which will kind of maybe encourage you or invite you to step into the unknown, to be like the fool and go like, okay, well, it, can't be much worse. Let's try something different.
Yeah, setting out new for sure. Like I said, reset and going out there, but really, yeah, it feels really good. It feels like there's a lot of potential, and it's a shift in perception of where the priorities are, what's important, what really matters, and then, being open to approaching things in a new, fresh way that we never have maybe before. And like you say, yeah, collective, individual, all of course, but how is it going to show up? And that's kind of, what we're going to see probably, like I said, I feel like the full moon in Cancer is going to definitely be illuminating some things. Perhaps we'll know more then on the other side of solstice, but yeah. Wow.
Cool. I think just the fact that it's solstice, which is Sol, the sun, and for us in the Northern Hemisphere is the shortest day, and for guys over in the Southern Hemisphere is the longest day of the year. Yeah, there is a lot of, and also when we look at the Aquarius and Leo, they are in opposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it's just there is much more behind the veil which we can't see right now.
Yeah.
But the messages are definitely saying that something is going to become illuminating that will give you an opportunity to choose whether you want to carry this burden or not, and maybe make a new choice and step into the unknown where you decide, let's go and explore. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. And I know that can be unsettling and we can feel insecure about the not knowing. But like I said, the red here is saying to me in both. And like we said last time, you can't go wrong with the sun in the spread. So all will be well. It's uncomfortable. It's unsettling to say, well, we just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be transformative, whatever it is. And you're going to come out holding roses, like it's going to be great. But it's like that can be unsettling and uncomfortable. But getting yourself, being mindful, not fearful, and really allowing yourself to flow with the experience, because it's all unfolding in time. It's all a part of the lessons and the experiences. Like the magician trying something that didn't work, it was through the perceived failure of that not working, that they're able to be inspired to try something different. So it's just all a part of the unfolding. And yes, you can tune into that more specifically with each moment. We're looking at a broad picture here, but ultimately it ends with the potential to make a choice to set out in a new beginning. But it's illuminated here with the sun, which is really beautiful.
Yeah. So I think whatever is going to transpire, just like with the last card pull that we did in the part 1, it is for the highest good of all, even though we might not see it right now. But eventually it will create a shift that will ease a burden.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what our Yule message is, right? Cap it off. These are also really beautiful cards. This is Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. So here in that time and season, we're going to get a little oracle message to cap off these solstice energies. It's coming forward. Feasting.
Oh well, that's right on time with the Christmas, right? Few days earlier.
With gatherings and feasting, which this one's really dark. I'm gonna put my glasses on just so I can see.
What number is it?
Card 14. So 5.
5. We started with 5 and we ended with 5.
Yeah. So it says, let us feast upon the nourishing and be thankful for thy feast, nor here or there, yet everywhere it be. So that is beautiful. And it evokes a lot of thoughts for me right away about, who all is at the table, who's gathering at the table. And, again, processing, we talked about this last time too, like things that maybe no longer resonate, or tables we no longer wish to have a seat at. It's saying the feast is happening anywhere, whether here or there. it's all nourishing. It's all bringing forward something for us, but we don't have to ingest it all. We don't have to sit at every table. We don't have to partake of every meal. So there's discernment coming in there too. But I want to see what there's always some really clever message that goes with it. And that's definitely very timely for gatherings or not, right? That's the other thing for, again, just being aware of maybe not gathering and feasting. So then how that shows up for everybody. I'm looking for card 5 in my mind because I'm thinking of it as a 5, but it's 14. Like, wait a minute. I'm circling through here and I'm not seeing it. But again, all that change and again, transformation and okay, keywords: having enough, nourishment, and providing. So in ancient times, there would have been a lot of worry during the winter season. Your ancestors would have had to conserve as much food as possible, fearing their families wouldn't have enough to survive. When Yule came around, your ancestors would drink and celebrate as a signal of faith in the brighter days to come. Most of the modern world doesn't need to worry about having enough food, but the fear of not having enough still exists in different ways. You are being guided to challenge your limiting beliefs around scarcity. You can be generous with your time and resources, knowing that what you give will be returned tenfold. Allowing yourself to give despite your concerns lets the universe know you will be provided for. The more you trust in having enough, the more the universe rewards this faith with more abundance. Do not sacrifice moments to nourish your mind, body, and soul because of fear. As you confront your limiting beliefs, more pathways to wealth will be provided to you.
Wow.
That's
actually what came to me straight away when you put that card of the feast, because with the Fool, it's saying that the abundance is there. Just like you said, whichever table you choose to sit at and who with, it is still available. It's just whether you think or you see it's available for you, or whether you feel that you can have that, or do you choose like, oh no, I have all this burden to carry, all our ancestor and collective trauma that like you said, we all inherited these emotions, these things that get triggered with us repeatedly, and perhaps it's time to let it go, because is it the burden that we want to keep carrying going into the future, whereas the universe is unlimitedly abundant, and we are entering the year 8, which is all about abundance and manifestation. But do we choose to see that, the 8 of Swords? Do we choose to see that? Or do we just be stuck in our thoughts of like, oh my god, this is impossible, this is terrible? And especially this message coming out during Christmas time, I know this could be the happiest time of the year for some, and the saddest, the hardest time for some, which again stems from the perceptions and the stories that we are holding on to, like what are we celebrating or not. So with this feast, there is definitely, the abundance is always there, but whether we tap into that energy or not, it's up to us.
Yeah. And it's also talking about, if you perpetuate a belief of lack or scarcity, then you're going to see that everywhere you look, or not be able to see because you're literally blinded by, a blizzard of worry. And so, both of these are what was just addressed there. And again, it's like there's this or this, like there's this potential for getting lost in all of that. The other thing I'm feeling too is like stuffing yourself with all of this stuff that's dense and not enabling you to move freely, so there's this energy of, I do feel like a bit of discernment about what you are ingesting, and doing so not just physically eating at a table, but what am I watching? What conversations am I participating in? What energy am I entertaining? Because, we talked in episode 12.1 about the not feeding the weeds and tending to our garden, and really thinking about, what we're feasting on. And whether or not that's nourishing our body or not. And if it feels dense, if it feels heavy, if it feels like it's weighing on you, then that's the indicator that that's not nourishing you, that it's not something that's sustaining you. So that's, bringing up so many things to reflect on, to see in what ways have some of my past beliefs, my past actions or inactions been a reflection of old fears, worries, beliefs in scarcity and lack, when actually I see this potentiality that's being illuminated for me, that's actually much more open and free and abundant than I ever saw before.
And I definitely, especially in this whole message, see what you just said, that what are we ingesting, what is the life force that we are feeding our soul with, which part of it is food and water, but it's the information, because with the swords is the mental card, is the thoughts, is the information, and then with the wands is the creativity, is the fire. So what thoughts are we engaging in then make us feel that we can or can't create that which we want or go into this new direction or not? So with this feast, like, I feel that it definitely has its shadow aspects, which is this, like, for example, I can just use my family as an example, and my dad watching news every single day. And that's something that he feeds himself every single day, and he can see every single day how that makes him feel, but he can't help himself. He just wants more of the same dish. So this is what I'm thinking, like, especially with this Uranus opposition, I don't know, there is something coming, because the Uranus is very prominent, it's the full card. Something might be there out on the platter, out in a menu, through the very likely media, that will try to offer you a dish, but it's up to you. Do you want to buy into that energy? And now again, use your discernment. I'm in no way saying these things are not happening. They might be happening, but is that serving you to eat this dish? So I feel there is so much more layers again in this message, because the choice is ultimately yours. You have the free will to decide what do you want to feed yourself with. But it's not just the food that we are ingesting. And is that serving us? Because I know for many people, they might even feel guilty to celebrate because, oh, there is someone not having a good time on the other side of the world. But are you actually helping by now depriving yourself, and you also making yourself unhappy and miserable? Is that an energy that we want to multiply? Is that actually supportive to those who don't have that choice? They don't have that choice. So this is again something where we have to question our belief system that made us think that, we all kind of like, if somebody's suffering, I can't be happy. But is my unhappiness helping those who are not happy? Is that actually supporting those people? And I'm not saying now let's ignore and be ignorant. No, but let's be mindful and discerning about what are we feeding ourselves with, and then based on what you are feeding yourself with, not just food, you then feed in others, those around you. Because when we hear something negative and then it puts us in a full mood, you're going to impact the people around you as well. And this is a ripple effect. But it's the same way if now with the season, if you tap into your joy, generosity, happiness, rather than watch news, watching comedies or family movies, spend time with your children, stuff like that, which straight away brings you on a higher frequency, hopefully. I'm not saying this is everybody's, situation. And then that creates a ripple effect. People want to laugh, they want to share the goodness and stuff. So don't allow, when somebody presents you with this dish that doesn't smell nice, you don't have to have it. You don't have to have it. That's where the choice comes. And that choice then leads to the next thing and the next thing.
So powerful. And these cards are literally just, it's these two right here. So I'm literally seeing that, like, if I, and this is true, that there, there's a, and this is coming from the guilt and shame and the idea of like, it's not okay for me to have happiness or for me to express joy if there's someone else that's holding the burden of all of these wands. So I'm just going to schlep over these other wands and join them. So now what do we have? Instead of this huge bundle of 10 wands, now we just compounded it. Like, so now we're just, again, amplifying and magnetizing in more of that dense, heavy energy, because we're all just sort of participating in that, versus bringing in the light, bringing in opportunities to create joy, even in small spaces and in tiny ways that ripple out, radiate out, you know, because this is the reality. Everyone is entitled to be in this place of joy and light and authenticity and freedom and expression. Like, this is the reality of truly, this is the reality that some people face. And so we're trying to open our eyes or to bring light and new beginnings to this belief system requires more light, not more of the density. So there's I'm seeing it so clearly, but it's harder to articulate as it's coming to me, but it's like this ripple effect of source and everything that shines out from it versus adding in all of the just throwing another one in there, you know. And so there's this opportunity to help raise the vibration as much as you can. Do your part by raising the vibration as much as you can and carrying that into the new. Once we step in as a collective into the energy of 8, whatever we bring with us is what will be amplified. That's the message that is being sent to the universe of what we wish to create. So it is important that we be very mindful of what it is that we want to bring in. So personally, as for me, you know, and everyone, it's up to them as to what resonates for you. But if I'm saying that whatever everybody's carrying when we all walk in here on our fool's journey into 2024 is what's going to be amplified, think about that. What do I want to have in my hand? What do I want to have on my table when I go into a year of abundance and manifestation? What do I want to be abundant in my life and in your life and for the world? And build from there, create from there, you know.
But it's literally like, what do you put in the knapsack? You know, because majority of people, when they look at their life, do I want to take all this density, all this misery, or there are these pockets of happiness. So what am I putting in this knapsack that I want to take with me going forward? And this is such a powerful message, really. This is what I mean. This is multi-layered. None of these messages are just like, oh, look at the cards and take them literally, because they represent symbology that represents much deeper messages. And there is no coincidence that this is coming on the day when Venus, the ruler of the South Node, which is the resolution node, what we are trying to resolve, South Node in Libra, where did we externalize our power? And on the new moon in Sagittarius, Venus was in opposition with Jupiter, the ruler, Jupiter retrograde. Something is becoming illuminating to us. What stories are we buying into and are allowing to control our lives? And do we want to bring these and the consequences of these stories with us into the future, into the year of manifestation? Because just like you said, we're going to amplify it. So now if there is an opportunity to be happy and you're doing it for these people who can't be, so it's like you're doing it for them too, because if we look at it from the point of that we are all one and we part of the same source, then you being happy, you are being happy for those who can't be happy right now. You're holding the space, you're holding the energy, the vibration, because maybe next year you will be the one in a hard situation and you will be hoping there'll be someone holding the frequency for you. Because imagine if there is a challenging situation in the world, which there is. Imagine if everyone was in that situation and there will be not one person that is better off. Who would help these people? You know, every time there is a war on some part of the world, you hoping that people in a better off situation, countries with more abundance, they will help. They will share that. But if all we decrease our vibration to this same position, then who will help who? You know, there is no one to hold the higher vibration. So this is why when we have these opportunities at this time of the year, like Christmas, for example, where there is the opportunity to raise the vibration, you take the opportunity because you are doing it for everyone. So it's but it's the story of the guilty shame and, you know, what you have to laugh about when I'm crying or something, but you're doing it for the ones that can't right now. And then, you know, if we really want to go deeper into spiritual path, you don't know what the soul chose to experience. Who are you to choose for them? So this is the thing, when we really zoom out and look at from the soul perspective, the soul is not polarized. The soul doesn't look at human experience and say, this is terrible, I'm not going to have that experience. The soul looks at the experience and the expansion that lies behind that experience. So this is why I feel it's very important to help people understand, especially at these triggering times of the year, that you don't know what is in the highest good of the other person, because you're not walking their shoes, you're not living their life. So who am I to judge what I think is best for you? The only thing you can decide is what you feel right now is the best for you and what makes you feel happy and inspired. And by ripple effect of your own joy and love that you will be overflowing by, you send this energy into the collective. And this is the best way you can support those who can't have it right now.
Yeah. So it's so perfectly aligned with that energy, and it is so nuanced, and there's so many layers and complexities, but it does ultimately come back to the fool's journey. And that's what you're describing. We're each on our own fool's journey, and none of us get to see the big picture from the start, right? That's the whole gig. That's the whole thing. That's the whole shtick that we made up, is like, hey, wouldn't it be souls, a bunch of souls? Like, wouldn't that be cool to go down there, a little knapsack, all carefree, and just forget about everything, can't see, and just figure it out, right? And so, I think it's big. There's so many layers, and it almost feels like being faced with this massive table of all this food. Like, some people can't take all that in at once. That's too much. I mean, engorge myself, and I can't even, like, don't know where to begin. There's pie, there's turkey, where do you go?
Mince
Just
pie.
one bite, right? Mince pie. Ugh, no, thank you. But hey, I'm not here to yuck somebody's yum, right? There might be another fool at the table who's like, give it up, So it's like, bringing some lightness into it, it's thinking, where do I start here? And I think that it is those little kindnesses, those little expressions, the sharing, the paying it forward, those expressions of kindness. And I know that this is a time of year where that really gets put up there, and we say, oh, well, we should be kind every day and we should always give. And that's true. But we're here now, and we have this opportunity, this gift that's being presented for us to shine and to share and to pass on. So in whatever way we can meet at this table that is admittedly very full, there's a lot going on. It can be messy, it can be complicated, there's all kinds of things going on at this table, but it just starts with our neighbor. It starts with, just sharing and expressing, paying it forward, shining the light, and just doing one thing, one action, just bring it back down to a way that what lights you up, what brings you joy, that you could pass on to someone else in the simplest ways of making eye contact with the person at the register, saying hello, taking an extra moment. I'll walk my kids to school and I see that, like, something fell on my neighbor's, lawn, and I'll pick it up for them, or a piece of trash that came out of their trash can. I just go on my way. Nobody had to see me, nobody knows, but it's just adding that vibration into the universe of shining our light in a way that says, well, yeah, this place is full of a bunch of trash, so what's the point if I pick up this one piece? So it's just a shift in perception. It's a different way of approaching things that maybe feels overwhelming or we didn't see before, but there's this new opportunity coming in on the other side here with this solstice of, like, really being mindful, yes, being present of mind, but also of heart, and really feeling, what do I want to take with me into the new, and thinking about, what we're packing, what we're ingesting, what we're sharing and bringing forward.
Absolutely. And that's just so beautiful. And I mean, you don't even have to give more than your smile. Like, I can just see it from my own experience when, when I'm listening to something that makes me happy, and then I go out and I'm like smiling, and everybody keeps smiling back at me. So, I mean, obviously it's doing something. So it's that kind of thing, it's that kind of thing. So yeah, very powerful messages for this solstice.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I mean, December has not disappointed in keeping it lively, keeping it active. There's always, like, multiple things happening on any given day that we're meeting to talk. So next time we meet, it'll be a little more focused on, I guess, the full moon, right? But
Right.
it's never just a full moon, though.
And, just to remind everyone one more time that as of next episode 13, part 1 and part 2 will be found on separate channels. You will no longer find both episodes on each channel. You'll have to go search for it. So, yes, so that hopefully add some excitement to people's experience.
Yeah, we'll leave some breadcrumbs. We'll let you know that the episode's been posted and where to go, but we're just going to put it in one place. We're not going to lug all those 10 wands everywhere, right? We're going to simplify, streamline, and carry that forward into the new. But thank you for being here wherever you find us. We appreciate it.
Exactly. Thank you. If you're still listening by this point, thank you so much. So let's wrap it up. Marissa, what do you have to share? What are your offering for this festive season?
Oh, as we wind down this year, this month and this year, the big thing is my 2024 year ahead spread. So that's really where I'll be focusing my energy as we move into the new year. In addition to the empowerment pack, which the January empowerment pack will be getting put forward at this time. So that's going to be available. You'll see the link here where you can book an empowerment pack to kick off the new year, where we work together throughout the month. But also highly recommend this big wheel of the year looking ahead. It's a 24 card spread that gives you a snapshot look at each month. Every quarter, there's oracle cards, tarot cards, and different altar elements that come in to help provide some insight and guidance into the year ahead. So that's I'm looking forward to those.
Wonderful. And yeah, this will be your personal guidance, literally every month of the year, step by step. And then if you choose to also work with Marissa on the empowerment pack, this will always be backed up. You know, there will be messages building up, another layer on the messages that will be coming through at that time. And yeah, with regards to my offering, as we have Christmas knocking on our door, I'll have some special discounts on my offerings. So stay tuned, check out my social media. More will be coming out about that in a couple of days time. And yeah, you can find everything on my website, moonlightsoul369.com.
Great. Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful holidays. And yeah, we see you for the full moon in Cancer.
Right up. Many solstice blessings.
Exactly. Much love, everyone. Bye.